Okay, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Katie Fassett. I am a mom of 4 boys. I'm married to my husband of almost 10 years. We live in Minnesota and have all our lives. Born and raised Minnesotan. So if you are from Minnesota, please let me know. But I have been sharing all about my experience of being in an MLM for 6 years, a health and wellness MLM to be exact. And this isn't like a anti-MLM takedown. It's just kind of pulling back the curtain, thinking back through on how things were, laughing at the things that were just funny and you can only laugh at, and having some moments of gravitas. Like I did an episode on when the after photo doesn't feel like enough when you're in a weight loss MLM, when that is just the main thing and the before and after sell. So there's an episode on that. There's like an intro episode where I share just kind of my experience with being in an MLM and how it wasn't typical of what you see these days when you're watching MLM stuff. It's either people are just like super mad and they hated, now they're just mad about the whole situation, or they're still in MLMs. And for me, the MLM that I was in, it was for a time. Being a part of that MLM was literally what I needed in that time in my life. I'm someone who is a person of faith, and I just believe that everything happens for a reason and it makes you who you are. The good and the bad, it prepares you and it equips you for the things that you're going to go through next in your life. So this isn't going to be an episode where I name names and I drag people down, but just episode that I think you'll kind of giggle at just how Looney Tune you can get when you're in one of these MLMs, and how there's just this fangirl culture of the people that are up at the top, and the fangirl culture of, either the CEO or in my case in Beachbody, it was the super trainers. And so having access to them, the extra perks you would get, aka getting like a picture with them or when they were at the elite parties or whatever, and just how wild people would get over these just regular people. It was unhinged. Okay, so we're going to get into that. We're first going to talk about just the fangirling with the super trainers. Then we're going to get into the fangirling of the top Beachbody partners and how they were just idolized. And I'm going to share like what I think can be a positive, like the most positive way to look at it, and what can be probably like the most negative outcome from the whole situation. So with that being said, let's get into it. It's going to be a fun one. Today's topic is all about just exposing the toxic fangirl culture within MLMs. And it happens in all MLMs, but I felt especially in Beachbody with the super trainers and then the top coaches, and just how they were just idolized and praised. And like when the top 10 would come out for the year, like everybody just fawned over these women, and you're just like, they're just held in this esteem and you just want to be like them. And then as you see the curtain like open up, you just see that like, oh, they're actually just like me and they're kind of struggling just like me. And like not everybody on their team likes them. Not everybody thinks they're nice. Same with the super trainers. I don't know. So this whole episode, I hope you enjoy. It's just interesting. Some food for thought. Okay. Some food for thoughts. Chew on that. Okay. Have fun watching. The first thing I really wanted to talk about was just the fan girl culture when it came to the super trainers. Last week, I shared about the top body programs that I did. All of those super trainers that I mentioned, they were like fawned upon. Like they were like gods on earth, like they were just, everything they said was perfect. And just the culture was, you wanted to get a picture with them. You wanted to be in their test groups. You wanted to get tagged and reshared on social media. Like, let's say you tagged them in a story and then they reshared your story. We would like freak the F out when they did that. Like, it happened a few times to like me and to some girls on my team, and we'd be like, oh my gosh, like Elise Joan, like reshared my story. Like, it was just, they were basically like movie stars in the Beachbody world. So just that was how we thought of them, how we treated them. And I've heard, because I've listened to Chalene Johnson, shout out to Chalene Johnson, her podcast, and she shared how she just felt like a product to be sold and people didn't treat her like a real person. It was just like, get a picture, because somehow when you're in this culture, in this community situation, you believe that when you get a picture with, let's say, Shaun T or with Megan Davies or with Joel Freeman, and they have like a new program come out, then you can post this picture with Joel Freeman and be like, hey, look at me with Joel Freeman. And like, especially for people who did the programs with you, then they would see that like, oh my goodness, Katie met Joel Freeman. Like maybe I want to be a Beachbody coach so that I can, meet the super trainers. Like how cool would that be? So I think that's like how people would think about it. And then that's why you would want to post pictures. But I always just felt weird. I always felt so weird going up to the super trainers, standing in line, waiting for the pictures. I have had a few pictures with them, but sometimes like it was in a moment where I felt like I could, like at the smaller gatherings. But when there were so many people waiting in line to get a picture with them, every time I would do it, I just like felt like bad. I just felt like, oh my goodness. But then we would justify it like, hey, we're basically like paying for their paycheck, so they better get pictures with us because the coaches are their number one fans and the number one buyers of their new programs that come out, and we're the ones who promote these programs. So then there was this, feeling of, well, they owe it to us to take a picture with us peasants. But there was a few times like with Shaun T and especially with Amwala Caesar, like there was some times I had to like hide my eyes in shame because they would like take off their shirts, especially with Amwala. And I told my husband this when I got back from an event. He had come to Minnesota and we were doing a workout, and all of a sudden he took off his shirt, and I'm like not kidding you. The girls went crazy. The girls went cray, and it was just like everyone was like, it's so hot, and I just felt like like this is not. If I post this on social media, I will like lose people because, there's like a hair in the eye. I'm like, I will lose. People won't even want to join me if they see that I'm like, yeah, join these programs where these guys are, taking off their shirts, and then this is so cool, and you're just married women just watching. And then he'd be like, doing moves up on the stage with the shirt off. And I just was like, I have secondhand embarrassment for the girls next to me who are screaming, freaking out. You do you, boo. I don't know their situation, but I was always just like, I am ashamed and I'm looking away. So just the fangirling of the super trainers was so unhinged and so hilarious now looking back. But truly, when you are in that atmosphere, they're elevated so high. And so you would get like the perks and the rewards would for hitting certain things would be to get a picture with Walla, or get a picture, or like you pay extra, like a VIP ticket to get a picture with them. Another thing, one year, it was like if you hit certain goals, you got a literal bobblehead. And I have since then decluttered and gotten rid of so many of those things because when we moved, I just couldn't hold on to these random bobbleheads of like Jericho Matthews and Omwalla Caesar. But that was like a prize. It was literally a prize, was a bobblehead of these super trainers. I'm like, nobody knows who these are. Like, if you're not in the Beachbody world, do you know who Amwala is? No. Do you know who Jericho Matthews is? Probably not. Like, I think most people do know Shaun T because he's just the more like recognizable person, but the other super trainers, like, I don't really think anybody like really knew or cared that much. So anyways, I feel like I could go on with this topic, but that was definitely just a funny time to be alive and to be a part of Beachbody. And now it's just like, now that Beachbody doesn't have the coaching, like I just feel like no one cares about the super trainers. Like we were the ones holding them up in this esteem. Like we were the ones going in our stories and being like, guess who's coming to Minnesota? And nobody else cared. Like they're just like hopping on the hype because we're hyped for some reason. So like we made them seem like these way bigger, cooler, awesome, amazing people than they were. They're just like fitness people who are leading these programs in a multi-level marketing thing. So, I mean, they're great. They're doing their job. I know they helped a ton of people, including me, get into shape and love working out again. And every single day I do the workouts, but I don't think we needed to fangirl that hard. Okay, now we're going to move on to talking about just the way that you would idolize the top Beachbody. You ready to get into this one? I think we're ready. I think we're ready for this. So, Beachbody, there are ranks. The first rank is Emerald. Then the next one is Diamond. Then you can be a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, all the way up to 15 superstar. That's the highest rank you can be. Plus, on top of that, once you hit 5-star, you have an opportunity to become an elite coach. Even more than superstar, elite is what you wanted to be. Like, you literally were like dust of the earth. Like, the corporate didn't care about you. It seemed like no one really thought you were a big deal until you hit elite. Once you're elite, then you're worthy. Okay. So, all my time of being a partner was never one to like follow top Beachbody partners, because for me, it made me just compare myself. And most of them, they've been doing this way longer than me. So I would be comparing their chapter, 500 to my chapter 1. And I'd be like, man, like their pictures are so much better than mine. Their transformation is way better than mine. And their story is way cooler than mine. So I just found early on just to tune out any of the other body partners. So I felt like anytime I'd get together at a Beachbody event, my team would be talking and they'd be saying like, did you see blah did this and blah's doing that and blah hit this? And I was just like, no, I didn't. No, I have no idea. But the fandom in each MLM, this isn't just body. You idolize the top partners. I had people who I really looked up to. So there's good and bad in this, because the good is that, it is good to be inspired by other people and to see that like, man, like they're so inspiring because they work out and like that's so inspiring to me, or they, have a clean home and that's so inspiring to me, or they work really hard and that's super inspiring. And that's great. Like, you should be inspired by other people. That's amazing. Like, that's not a bad thing. The bad thing is when you literally feel like you're never enough because you will never be enough. It's like making more money. There's always more money to be made. There's always more you can do in everything that you do. And within this culture with Beachbody and being surrounded by all these beautiful, fit, super attractive women who have wealth and who have all this that they're sharing, and they're so good at social media, it can just be debilitating comparing yourself to these women. And when you would go to the events like this, like Summit, there were markers to kind of like separate the peasants to the worthy ones. And the worthy ones were the elite coaches, or the ones who have hit Success Club for 100 months in a row. And Success Club basically just means that you helped 3 people, or you signed up 3 people, you sold 3 challenge packs in a month. Okay. Bare bones, that's what you did. Okay. You're a saleswoman. Okay. So when people get mad at me and they're like, so you don't like Beachbody anymore? I'm like, no, I was selling the products. Like, that's what I did. And I was leading a team, and now they let everybody go. So it's like if you're selling cars and then somebody's like, so you don't like cars anymore? You don't like, and you're just like, well, no, like I'm not selling cars anymore. Like that was my job. So like I did it because it was my job and I liked it, but now it's not my job anymore. So I'm not like promoting it all the time because that's not what I'm selling. Whatever. That was off topic, side tangent. Moving on. So there was like markers at Summit to show people kind of where you were at. And I remember the first year that I was at Summit, everyone was walking down. It was like this giant stadium and people are walking down, and I was just like going with the crowd. And I remember somebody turning around and saying to me, you can't go down here. Like, it's for elite coaches. And I was like, oh. And so I had to sit like way up in the nosebleeds watching all of these beautiful people down at the bottom, right next to the stage. They get to walk across the stage. They're wearing these beautiful gowns and dresses. And I remember thinking like, I want that. Like, I want to walk across stage. I want to be down where all of the other coaches are, like where the top partners, elite partners are. Like, they just look like they have their life together. Like, they have these teams who love them and just like fawn over them. And every time they like walk across the stage, people are like clapping, and you want it. Like, who doesn't want to dress up in a beautiful dress and walk across stage and people cheering for you? I mean, it's pretty great, right? But once you get there, it's not all that it's cracked up to be. I totally forgot about this, so I wanted to just quickly, I was done with my video and I'm like, I cannot believe I didn't say this, so this is just like insert. one thing that they did at Summit, they would have like shrines of the top body partners. Like you would walk through a hallway of like one year there was jerseys. And so you'd see like everyone's name. And the years that I had it, there would like be posters of my face. Like when you hit elite, there would be pictures of your face on like a poster. And then there would be like shrines for each coach, for each person who was elite. And people would like walk through and it was just like, can't wait to one day be on a shrine. And they just made it seem like such a big deal, and you don't make any extra money for being a part of it. So I just wanted to say that one thing. There was literal shrines. I'll try to find a picture, and it feels really cool. Like, I don't know. I go back and forth because I'm like, if it motivates you, cool. But at the same time, like, you're motivated by the clout. You're motivated by other people being like, you're worthy now, even though it doesn't mean that you're going to make more money. That was just a thought I wanted to add in here. So anyways, I don't know if I explained that right, but there's like the nosebleed seats, then there's like premier coaches, and then elite coaches. So premier is before elite. And there was one year I was premier, so I got to like sit behind the elite coaches. Like they always had ways of showing you where you lie. You would get like medals to wear, and the more medals you had, like the more achievements you had that year. You would have like these ribbons that you wore, and some people's ribbons like went all the way down to like the floor. And so the ribbons would be like 100 months in success club, $1 million club earner, like success club trip person. Like I don't know, it would just, you would get a little ribbon for however many achievements. So like you wanted that because you wanted to like show people like, look at all these ribbons. And then people would be like, oh my gosh, like what, like what's this ribbon for? And you're like, I don't know, I'm just so cool and I'm just so awesome. That's why. And I heard top partners talk about that. Like they would say like, I love the ribbons. Like I love being able to like show people that like, hey, as you look, like it's kind of like how people are like with, like you'll hear influencers talk about other influencers and how they like judge other influencers on their following. Like the mean ones will, and they'll be like, how many followers do you have? And then they'll be like, I have 50,000. And then they'll be like, that's it, like loser or whatever. And obviously we know that it just doesn't freaking matter. Like like in the real world, no one's like, how many followers do you have? Yeah, okay, well now I'm gonna tag. Like no one cares. People just want people just, they just care about if you're kind, if you're nice, okay? Anyways, and so there was all these different things to show you. Like you would walk across the stage, and for like the beginning people, if you're only one star, like you just walk across the stage quickly. But then as you go higher up in the ranks and as you get into like the elite top 25, then it's like a way bigger show. And I remember one year I was like, I'm going to do that. And so I worked my little tushy off along with my team to hit top 25. We ended the year at top 22, so we got to walk across the stage. We didn't. I did. Which is why like that's kind of what I think broke it down for me that year, because our team, we had worked so hard because you can't do it alone. Like hitting elite and things like that, it basically just means that you had some runners that year. So you had some new people join who went and did a bunch of things in their first year, and that's what goes towards elite. As I'm walking across the stage by myself, like they put up the names of your team, which I was so proud of that like their names were up there. But I'm like, I don't know, like there was so much where you're like, this is a team effort, and then like you're the only one getting the recognition. And it just kind of felt shallow and it didn't feel as cool as I thought. And I felt like once I'm top 25, then I'll be making the big bucks. You don't get any extra money for being in the top 25. You don't get any extra money for being elite. I didn't realize that. I thought that like these people who are elite, who are in top 25, like they're making all this extra dough. No, because there's stipulations. Yes, you can get a bonus, but you have to hold 5-star for X amount of weeks, and you have to hold like there's different things. And same with like the top 25. Like there's ways you can earn bonuses, but you have to be in the top to be able to earn those bonuses or have a really freaking big downline that helps you do that. And my team, we were always like small but mighty is what I would say. And we could never like hold those ranks for very long. And I remember when I first started to blow up more on Instagram, I would have coaches like message me about different elite things. Like, I just hit elite. Like, when have you hit elite? Like, when are you going to hit elite? And I'm like, I've actually never done it, and I'm probably not going to hit it this year. This was before I had done it. And I remember just feeling really stupid because they just assumed that I was. And I don't know. I feel like I was always very naive to how the game worked, to how the system worked. And I was told often, like, you will not be asked to speak on things or to be on the National Wake Up Call, like the podcast that they have or anything like that, until you hit 5-star elite. Like, they basically do not look at you until you do that. And other coaches don't recognize you until you hit that. Then you're worthy. I'm going to talk a little bit about meeting some of the top partners and being at some of the parties and just, I don't know, the feeling of like, did I just step back into high school? This year, I think it was 2021 maybe, it was invited to the elite party. So you can invite a guest, and I wasn't elite yet, but the person who invited me, she was like, "Hey, this will like really inspire you because there are because like this is what you could be invited to yourself next year when you hit elite." I had not hit elite yet. And I remember like you had to dress up in a certain theme. If you were following me at that time, we totally butchered the theme. We didn't realize that it was a theme. We thought it was just like you dress up, but it was like a Great Gatsby theme. Failed there. Anyways, showed up to this party and I just remember feeling like, is this like high school prom or something? Some of the conversations we would have would be like, this is one conversation we had. It was me and the person who invited me, and we're going up and we're like, we're talking and mingling. And these parties, like they went all out. And the super trainers would just be walking around and they're all dressed up and everyone's dressed up. And you're just kind of like, I don't know. It felt very high school prom. And one of the conversations we had, the girl was like complaining because she saw a different coach online sharing that she had like professional hair and makeup done for this event. And she's like basically bad mouthing this person who spent money on their hair and their makeup for this party. And she's just like, that is so dumb. I would never spend my money on that. Like, how dumb is that? And like, I just did the makeup myself and I just got this outfit off Amazon. And it was like it's like she needed to drag somebody else down to make herself feel better and just be like, I would never do that. That's so stupid. And I just remember feeling like, this is what I'm working for? Like, because in your mind, you're always told like these top coaches, their mindset, like they're so business savvy, and just being in the room with them, like you want to get in the room with them. I just had this song come in my head. I want to be in the room where it happens, the room where it happens. Anyways, okay. Good. Hamilton, get out of here. Anyways, that's how you would feel. Like you just want to be in their presence, because if you're in the presence of this greatness, then they'll rub off on you. And here I am at this party, and like every time the curtain would kind of be like opened a little bit, like in the Wizard of Oz, like you look behind the curtain, you're like, oh, it's just a man. Like what? I thought it was like this wizard who's like giant and bigger than life. That's how I would feel at these things. Like talking to this girl who's supposed to be one of the top people, and she's like bad mouthing this other coach who got her hair and makeup done. And I'm just like, what? Like this isn't what I thought it was. And in my mind, I'm like, well, maybe like that was just a weird conversation, and well, it'll get better the next year. Well, then we're like in this other pod of people, and they're all just like complaining about their teams and how they're not doing enough and how they're barely at elite and XYZ. And I just was like, I don't know. I thought this was going to be different. And then the next year when I got the invite myself, like it it's fun, but I still had this feeling of like the hype is unreal. So I just want to tell you, when you see other women who are in MLMs and they're at these events and they're just making it seem like it's the best time in the world, we are hyping it up for social media. 2, we're freaking exhausted because like you literally don't even have time to eat. You are going from thing to thing, from training to training. 3, it's not that cool, but you want it. Like you get so brainwashed to want to walk across the stage. Like I was talking to Scott about how I'm going to do this next episode about like just the fangirling and wanting to walk across the stage. And he's like, yeah, but Katie, you wanted to do that too. And you do. Like you're just like conditioned to want to do it. Like you want to be like these top coaches who have the designer bags and they have these beautiful dresses, and it just seems like their life is fabulous. And now that I've met some of them and I've just seen behind the curtains, I'm just like, actually they're just flawed human beings like the rest of us. And now that I see so many of them hop to different companies, and now they're like using their before and after photos from Beachbody to sell their new products or whatever it may be, it just feels like rotten. And it just feels like, I don't know, it's like when you meet your hero in real life. I think there's like a saying, like you never want to meet your hero in real life because it'll basically like just crush your image of them because you see that like they're real people. And I think that's just the story this episode, is that we are all just flawed, sinful human beings trying to do our best. And as soon as we try to raise up other people because it seems so great, they have this beautiful house, or they're so pretty, or they're, they have 1 million followers, or their team is so big, or they got to walk across the stage, or they're in the Millions Club, and they're, anoint these people as the chosen celebrity ones when they're really just people who are flawed, who make mistakes, who will gossip, who, maybe don't make the best decisions all the time. And they can be mean and they can be snarky, and like maybe they are a little selfish and they like to have the praise and they like to, act like they're the best. And I don't know. So that's just kind of like a little sneak peek into this topic. I'm going to say one more thing, and that'll just be like how some people fangirled over me. I'm going to talk about the year that I think it was 2022. Yeah, was the year that my social media, or like 21, 22 was really when my social media was like blowing up and so many people started to recognize me. And that summit, I had so many women come up to me and want to take a picture with me. And like the people who were with me were like, Katie, this is crazy. Like, it was so many people. So if you are one of those people who came up to me and wanted to get a picture with me, please drop a comment and maybe send me the picture if you still have it. It's so funny. But I just remember at that time just feeling like not that special. And I especially felt kind of silly because at that point I hadn't really done anything in Beachbody. So I didn't really feel worthy of this clout. But I think it was just because of the videos had gone viral that I had and just the relatable mom content. So it was just funny because I kind of had my own little fangirling experience at these events. And I always just felt like I'm just a regular person. So I think that's how everybody else felt too. And when like some of the top coaches, they would say like that they basically had to like hide because otherwise everybody would want pictures with them. And it's just like, what in the world? Like, it was just such a funny culture. I never felt like I had to hide. But sometimes I did feel like I looked really ugly. Like it would be after a workout, I'm like sweaty and nasty and like had no makeup. And then someone's like, Katie, can I get a picture with you? And I'm like, no, like I feel so ugly right now, but sure. So just funny. But anyways, that is my story. And if you enjoy just kind of this peek behind the curtain discussion, drop any emoji below, or maybe do like the sunglasses emoji. Yeah, drop a sunglasses emoji if you made it to the end here and if you enjoyed this discussion. And if you were a part of Beachbody, or maybe you were like on the sidelines watching, like did you get that FOMO when we would talk about Summit or these different trips or meeting these top partners or meeting these, super trainers? I would love to hear those who got in it and maybe those who never got in it. Like, were you like, yeah, this is lame. Like, I don't care about meeting these people. Or were you like, no, I really wanted to meet Autumn Calabrese. Like, that would have been so cool, or whatever. Like, it's just funny to hear kind of an outsider's perspective looking in when you were in it. I would love to hear your take on it. But thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'm so glad that you're here. Can't wait to bring more content for you around this topic. And I hope that you enjoyed this little sort of insightful, sort of just, I don't know, thoughts that I have now after being out of an MLM, and just like, why did we hold these people up on this pedestal when, like, I don't know. It's just interesting. So I would love to hear what you think about this.